Welcome to Your American Dream. I'm Anisha Jennings, and today we're exploring how sheer grit, unwavering resilience, and remarkable willpower can transform not just a career but an entire corporate culture. We're meeting with Shikha Bajaj, whose journey from Delhi's suburbs to New Jersey's boardrooms wasn't just about success. It was about finding purpose. After experiencing firsthand the toll of corporate America, Shikha discovered her true calling, empowering other women to their own authentic selves. Welcome, Shika, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Anisha. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So, I met Shika at this conference that we had, and she gave us this keynote and spoke about her entire journey. So, that was really, really inspiring, and thank you so much for that. But I would love for our listeners to learn more about you. So, tell us about your dream of coming from India to the US and what prompted this entire journey. And here you are, author of a book and inspiring women to be their authentic self.
On a New Delhi with a big dream to make it really large and get to the top in New York, I was told that I'm crazy and I'm stupid and maybe I'm also delusional, but I decided to not listen to those noisy voices, but just follow my inner path. Many years down the line, I am here. When I moved here, I only had two suitcases, $200, and 2 million dreams. I did everything that the world told me, that if you work hard, put your foot down, just do what you're being asked to, you will actually achieve success and financial freedom and my dream of actually getting to the top in corporate America. You'll be happy. I did all that, but I wasn't happy. And that's when I realized that it's very important to really know what I want and what my unique definition of happiness is. So that's when I started the journey of reflection and introspection and finding that to seek happiness and then also ensure that other women can find that too.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, as a first generation immigrant, what challenges did you face when you got here? What was it like when you landed here? I know it was your dream to come here, but from dreaming to actually being here and it becoming a reality, what did that look like?
Far from pretty, because as a first generation immigrant, I did not have a godfather or mentor telling me that this is what you need to do for you to be accepted, for you to be welcomed, and for you to feel supported, whether it was at workplace or at home. I was a new mom. I don't look like a lot of other people, right? Neither from my skin color or my Indian accent. So trying to figure out how can I be assimilated was a journey. And the more I tried to fit in, the more I ended up losing myself. So it was really, really hard from fitting in the society outside work and also at work, because as an Indian girl, I was taught to be nice and pleasant and be nurturing. But if you do all that in corporate America, you can be labeled as not having an opinion and not knowing what she wants and too soft. So I got a lot of labels and it was extremely hard.
Thank you for sharing that. So, when you were growing up, what was your dreams like? How come you got the dream to be here in the US? What prompted that?
That's a great question, actually. I'm not sure. I don't think it was like one thing. I think it was many things. But maybe one of those, like growing up, we all grew up watching Bollywood movies, right? And whether it was DDLJ looking at like London or several other Yash Chopra movies looking at like New York, I felt the world looks very different and far more happening. So I always had that curiosity to see how it really would be to move out of the country. I also am a big foodie and I love different cultures. So growing up, my parents ensured that so I've seen almost all cities and states in India. And every summer, even though I was born in New Delhi, I've seen Kashmir, I've seen Kanyakumari. So we used to visit a lot of places, and every time I met new people, I enjoyed learning about that culture and food and everything else. And I'm big on travel. So I think all those things combined wanted me to come to New York.
Amazing. So, when you came here, did you experience all of that along with, like, thinking, okay, those were my dreams. Now I'm here. I made it here. What did those dreams look like as reality?
As I said, it was really hard, right? We always hear that grass is always greener on the other side. I witnessed it firsthand. Because when you don't have any support structure, you're new in a country and you're trying to not only belong but also make a difference, you can be very hard on yourself. So I would say, in short, it was super hard. I was like, well, the dream was great, the reality isn't looking that rosy. So how do I balance my work and life and at the same time continue to rise in the workplace? It was very, very hard trying to figure out that balance.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So you also mentioned that, you were very hardworking, you were very focused, and your parents, your upbringing, you had a great upbringing, but you had something that changed your motivation. Like your motivation was triggered by something else. So tell us a little more about it with regard to your dad and how that changed your life course and how you pursued it and how you made it big in the US.
Yeah, so I think for anybody who's an Indian or a first generation immigrant, what I'm going to say now is not going to be a shock or a surprise. 40 years back, when I was born, wanted and welcomed a boy child more than a girl child. So it wasn't a stigma that you have a girl baby, but it's not that, you're super happy and you're distributing sweets and you're actually partying, right? That wasn't the environment or the celebratory mode when I was born as the firstborn in my parents' family. And with that, there comes a lot of pressure to always do well on in all aspects of life, whether it's how you look, whether it's at school, whether it's co-curricular, because I was always seeking that external validation that I'm good enough and I'm worthy enough. And as I was growing up, I believe that external pressure to always be number one in anything and everything I do ended up actually burdening me with far more responsibility than I could carry. So when I moved from New Delhi to New York, I was still the same old person and I wanted that external validation in my environment, which had completely shifted. So everything that worked in India with respect to be soft, be nurturing, be nice did not work here. If you really want to be taken seriously, you need to be very assertive, sometimes even borderline aggressive at work. And that's not what or who I was. So I tried to change and adapt. But in all of that process, I actually started losing my own values and who I was. So overall, that transformation and that whole journey, uh, it was it was hard.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. And it is a lot when there's a lot of pressure on you and you want to be the best and you want to do well and you want to make sure you make your parents proud. It's a lot of pressure. So kudos to you for going through that journey so gracefully. I don't know, but I can imagine that it was really hard for you, but you've done so well, and you got all your degrees, your laurels, everything, right? Like the awards and all of it. But it did lead to you having a burnout. What did that look like? Like, you got all these achievements. Did you feel okay at this stage now I feel like I'm accomplished? Or what did that look like? Like even these days children are taught, okay, you got to study well, then 10th, once you're done 10th, then you're done 12th, then you're done degree.
Yeah.
Then does it ever end, and where do you draw the line?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm so glad you're asking me that, Anisha. I think as individuals, as parents, it's our responsibility to help a child be happy, learn how to be kind, and build a good character rather than follow a checklist with respect to grades and be a lawyer or be a doctor or be an engineer, right? Because that doesn't really guarantee happiness. And there is a very distinct difference between achievement and success. So if you give me 30 seconds, I'll tell you I was extremely accomplished and a high achiever, but I was not successful. And the reason is because achievement is checklist driven around, yes, I will be happy when I get the new car. If I have a new car, well, I want a bigger car, I want a bigger house. And then you start comparing yourself with others. But happiness and success comes based on your whole life, which is not just your financial freedom or the big house or the car. It also depends on your friends. It depends on how healthy you are. It depends on, do you have time? So you may have the greatest house and the most wonderful car. But if you're working 16 to 18 hours and you can't actually enjoy the change in season or smell the roses, what are you going to do with all those dollars in your bank account, right? So I was a high achiever, but I was not successful. And in 2020, thanks to COVID, I had a lot of time to really pause and figure out, why am I not happy? I became a partner in my company, which I wanted to. I wanted to have X million dollars or whatever in my bank account. Yes, I had that. On the outward, everybody thought that she has everything going for her. But deep inside, I was unhealthy physically, emotionally, and mentally. I did not have friends. I did not enjoy my life. And just waking up and getting out of the bed was a huge, huge chore. So that's when I did a deep reflection and figured out what is it that I want to be happy. And I realized that I love giving back and I had lost my values. In this race to get to the top, I'd lost who Shikha was, and that's why I wasn't happy. So when I changed that in myself, that's where the whole idea of the book Own Your Color came from. And my way of giving back to the society and all women globally is I would hate for anybody to waste. I wasted, I would say, 40 years of my life figuring out what success looks like. I don't want all others to do it, men or women. And I want to encourage everybody to do a deep reflection, know who they are, be authentic, and at the same time, ask for help. So the book talks about mentorship, and it's really, really important for people to seek support, because when you seek support, support shows up.
Thank you so much for sharing that again. We will talk a little more about your book at the end. But before that, let's talk about what were the strategies that helped you navigate and rise through corporate America?
You have to believe in yourself. You have to really, really be authentic to who you are, because unless you believe in yourself, the world will not. So if there is a time when you're unsure if what your opinion is, whether it matters or not, it does. The reason is because you're not invited to a boardroom because they like to see a woman in the boardroom. You have earned that place. So never, never, ever, second guess yourself. Be confident, be clear, and always, always speak up.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great insight and great advice. So, how do you go about balancing your authenticity with corporate expectations?
There is no balance. I have learned it after a very long time that people who value you will be there for you. People who, and again, I'll just say this. I'm not pizza, so I cannot please everybody. I lost many, many years trying to please everybody and get that external validation. And what I've learned is I can never ever please everyone. So if you want to get happy, then you go eat pizza. If you want to be real, I'm here for you. So just be authentic. Don't try to fit in. Don't try to beat around the bush. Be nice, be humble, be kind, but at the same time, have the courage to say whatever you believe in.
Thank you. I love that. I love the analogy of pizza, because pizza does make people happy, but that's not what we're here for. So, how did your Indian upbringing influence your leadership style?
I would say in every way. So, Indians are known to be humble, hospitable, warm, and welcoming. And I would say that's what my leadership style is. I was raised in a large family, and when I take on any kind of new job or a role, I want to first know everybody individually, give them the right attention, and then create a culture where everybody feels that they can be authentic. So I like creating safe places, and my leadership style definitely has been influenced based on how I was raised. So I'm very thankful and I'm very proud to be an Indian.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And that's true. That's what we bring with our culture is hospitality. And you're definitely a very, very, very warm person. And the work you're doing is amazing. So, which brings us to your book, which is Own Your Color. You told us how the book came into being. And tell us a little more about your experience while writing the book. What were your thoughts? What was your mission? And after your book was released, what was the experience like?
I'm extremely, it's been humbling and extremely gratifying to see the book get the kind of, I don't know, I don't want to call it applause, but essentially the way it's been received, right, by the masses as well as by the corporates and profits, non-profit. So the book is broken down into three pillars: know your color, embrace your color, and spread your color. Know your color is all about knowing your limiting beliefs so that you can shatter them. Know who you really are in terms of what are your values, and then get the courage to show up that way. Embrace your color is all about get the courage to dream big and find mentors, seek help, and spread your color is just focus on your strengths. The world tells you, oh, you're not good at this, you're not good at that, but forget the naysayers, focus on what you're good at and share your gifts with the world so that then you can also pay it forward. So that's how the book is broken. The book came about, as I said, my journey of self reflection and introspection started in 2020. I would say I've been mentoring women and men for many, many years. But during COVID, after I created a mentorship program and I did a lot of nonprofit work in terms of mentoring people at work as well as globally in nonprofits, I realized immigrant women, especially, struggle with external validation and believe in themselves. And to be honest, when I actually casted a broader net, it's true for all women more than men. We doubt ourselves more. We look for the world to pat us on the back saying, yes, you got this. Like we are the best friend to everybody else, but to our own selves. We have a big inner self critic saying, you're not good at this, you're not good at that, you're never going to do this. Like we're always just beating ourselves down. And if I, as a person, beat myself down, that's how the world is looking at me, and the world is there anyways to ridicule you. So, how will we as women ever shine and actually lift each other? So, having gone through all those interviews and mentorship that I gave to many women, I realized that those themes are common, and it's my duty and responsibility to take time and write the book and provide it as a toolkit, because the book actually has exercises so that people don't have to spend 10, 20, 30, 40 years like I did to figure out who they are and how they can rise and be successful, not just an achiever.
Great. I loved the exercise that you did of shattering, whatever our limiting beliefs are. And that was amazing. So when you started off, did you have mentors? Did you actively seek mentorship? And you've already told us, how important mentorship is, why we should seek mentors. Did you have anybody who was like in a mentor role in any capacity for you? And if so, how did that shape you? And if you did not have anyone, obviously now you are a mentor, but what would be your advice for people just like starting out in either their journey as in corporate America or anywhere corporate, or even starting their journey as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I never had formal mentors growing up. I've always looked up to my mom, and I write about her in the book as to how grateful I am to have a mom who was extremely forward looking and has been my biggest cheerleader all these years. So she has been my mentor informally, and I was able to realize that when I started writing the book. But the whole reason to write the book is I feel all the research I've done, whether it's me or other women, we attach some amount of shame to say that I need help. We want to always prove that we are super women 24 by 7 in all walks of life, which is practically impossible. That is exactly why I got burnt out and I got sick, as I said, emotionally, physically, and mentally. So we need help. I cannot be a super mom and a super wife and a super senior executive 24 by 7. I need my husband to go take care of the dishes, right? Like we're equal partners. This is no longer, I don't know, like 1800 where the man is working and woman is sitting at home and all the woman would do is just take care of the house. Like there is equal responsibility. But what I learned was half the time I wasn't even asking my husband to help, which is a problem. So if I want to do everything by myself, whether it's at home or at work, it's obvious that I'm going to get burnt out and I'm not going to prioritize my self care. And that's why I even give this whole tool called Mentor, which stands for meditate. M for meditate, E for exercise, N for notate, T for thankfulness, O for ownership, and R for reading. Like I've learned it the hard way, and that's why I'm giving it out as a secret tool for everybody to start using it so that you don't get burnt out. Like just be grounded, take time to know how you want to spend your day, what's important to you, give yourself time to exercise, to breathe. World is not going to collapse. So you really have to give yourself grace and take time and ask for help.
That's so true. It's always women take care of themselves at the end because you're a mom, you're a wife, you're whatever, you just have to do all of it. So thank you so much for sharing that. So what common barriers do you see for women in leadership?
There are so many. So first is the stereotype of we expect women to be doing what we expect them to. So until mid management, it's okay, but it's really hard trying to get to senior levels. And there's so many reasons, right? There are not too many senior women. And why there are too many senior women? Because I believe women are working really, really hard, not smart, to get to the top. So some of it is like we have to own that responsibility because we are not asking for help, neither at home nor at work. Two, there are not enough role models to see as to how did she get to be a CEO or CIO that I can also do that. So if you don't have enough role models, then you don't know what to do. There is no script to follow. So everybody's just trying to figure it out. And then there is a lot of bias that comes in, right? Like we are all human beings. So you don't look like them, you don't act like them, and you're a minority. It's just hard. You're not in the inner boys club.
Yes, yes, indeed. So you spoke about mentoring and, all the mentorship program that you built. Tell us a little bit about the mentorship program that you built and how has it impacted lives?
Yeah, I've actually built a few by now. One was within the company, one was in the community. So let me talk about the one in the community. Just having a bunch of women really be authentic, saying this is what I'm struggling with. It could be I need to lose weight. It could be I don't know how to do makeup. Can you help me? It could be I need some help figuring out childcare. To also like, you know what? I need to switch a job and I don't know how to review my resume so that I get the job. So it could be all walks of life. But the only way that program was successful was people first accepting who they are and saying that, yes, I need help. Because you cannot set up a program when nobody will sign up, right? If you feel like, no, we got this, then there is no participant and there's nobody to match a mentee or a mentor with, and you can be successful.
Yes, that's true. If we don't show up, showing up in commitment is very important, like you said. So thank you for sharing that. What workplace culture changes have you found to be most effective?
I think again, first thing starts with acceptance. Any organization, small, medium, large, they need to know that there is value in investing in leadership, men and women alike. Once you know that, then you figure out what are the issues you're looking to solve and actually be proactive in setting up a culture of belonging, support, as well as mentorship. So it all starts first off with the acceptance that yes, something is not working and we need to do better.
Yes, indeed. So also, you mentioned about fitness and exercise. So how do your outdoor adventures influence your professional life?
I would say in a huge way. I don't know if I shared it in that conference, but I'm a kind of person who can jump off the plane. If I could, I would love for that to be my weekend activity. And the reason is because you have to give yourself permission to be outside the comfort zone. So it's not natural to be jumping off a plane, doing skydiving, or doing bungee jumping, or doing something that has some amount of risk associated with it. But only when you're like, you know what, you don't want to control everything, but you want to go with the flow. It helps you be a better leader. It helps you to be a better human being. And also is very humbling to know that you can't control the outcome. So you have to go with the flow, right? Like so many times it happens. We say, okay, today I'll do this. And then you cannot because let's say the rain gods decided that it's going to pour. So you have to change your picnic outdoor to indoor. But then you get mad, you get frustrated. Like life is like that. So how can you just, be and be okay with uncertainty and take risks and dream big and move forward?
Definitely. That is so true. It is so hard to let go, and that's like the first step if you want to be a leader because there's always so much. You go first, right? So you have to let go. So what is your vision for accelerating women's leadership globally?
I think first of all, women needs to accept that yes, I deserve to be successful. Then once that happens, then women need to help each other. Unless that happens, first every woman needs to know that yes, I'm worthy and I need better, I deserve better. Once that happens, with all the framework that's provided in the book, they will be able to find their way. And if not, I'm here. You could reach out to me for one-on-one mentoring, group mentoring. I do a bunch of things for profit, non-profit workshops. Once you realize that, you have to know that it is your responsibility to help another woman. Just one. You don't even need to do what I'm trying to do. Just one. Once
Yes.
you make that commitment, it's one, you may have heard 1 + 1 is 11, right? Then what
Yes.
happens is that collective vibration to do better and rise together and lift just each other, right? If somebody needs
Yes.
help losing weight and they know Anisha can help, and then both of you actually have some positivity going on. With that,
Yes.
the ripple of impact, the ripple of optimism, the ripple of hope expands. So that plus then every woman, wherever she is, doesn't matter, community, profit, non-profit, should take the message of authenticity and the need to invest in women leadership to their leader, team leader, CEO, CIO, just so that they can start investing in women leadership. It doesn't
Yes.
need to be a Own Your Color. It can be any other program, but there needs to be more support built so that people feel that their organizations are safe spaces. So they feel that they belong and they can really be authentic, bringing their whole self, and that will create the impact for women to get to top much faster.
Indeed, indeed, definitely. Helping each other is so important and so crucial because women need to be supporting each other. So, how do you maintain your work life integration while still pursuing so many passions?
I love the fact that you said work life integration and not balance, because the reality is balance is a myth. It is work life integration, right? Since COVID, we are all working from home. Sometimes we go to work, and there are all sorts of aspects of life. I believe, as I said, the key thing is I know what is important to me and I take time for what's important. And it changes day to day. There are certain days where I am like 10 on 10 at work, but I'm not 10 on 10 as a mom or as a wife. So I have learned that I have to give myself grace and be okay that I will not be 10 on 10, 24 by 7. That's the only way to do the work life integration and do what's important to me, whether it's my family, whether it's work, my friends, but also like giving back in community.
Yes, definitely. Giving yourself grace is so important. So, you did mention that you do one on one mentorships and you work with other women as well, and you have these mentorship programs. So, tell us a little more about it and how, if somebody wants to work with you, what is the best way to reach out to you, work with you, and what does working with you look like?
Yeah, great question. So check out my website, www.ownyourcolor.com. You would see an email, hello@ownyourcolor.com. You can reach out to me there, or I'm also on Insta. Start following me on Own Your Color. That color on Insta is CLOUR. Okay. Working with me will look like me being your personal mentor, helping figure out what does your unique definition of success look like. It's much different when you go to a gym and trying to figure out these are like 20, 30 machines, what do I do, versus having a personal trainer by you and helping you through the process. So we would kickstart with a 30-minute conversation about where you are in your life, what is it that's bothering you, or your big dreams, and then we'll have a series of conversations based on your time, my time. We come up with a plan, and it could be for a month, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months or a year. That's how one-on-one mentorship will look like. I am getting a lot of requests from various companies as well as college campuses for me to come and share what I shared with you all, Anisha, in the conference about my journey, my passion, and about the book. So I'm conducting a lot of interactive workshops for specific organizations and campuses. So that's another way for you to let wherever you belong and bring Own Your Color that way to have a greater impact collectively.
That's amazing. And we will be cheering you on for
Thank you.
all your upcoming events. So, before we wrap up, tell us one thing besides acceptance and authenticity. If there's one takeaway that you've had from your journey as an immigrant woman entrepreneur, what is that?
One thing is really hard, but I'll tell you one thing I live my life by. So, this means being grateful. And I genuinely believe that gratitude is the best attitude. Life is tough, nobody has it smooth. But when you start being more grateful for what you have, you actually attract more abundance in your life. So, if there's one message, I will say be grateful, be kind, and be authentic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing these wonderful insights. Thank you for putting in the work for the book and giving us this tool so we can rise together and shine together and own our color. So, thank you again for being here. Remember that true leadership begins with authenticity. If you'd like to share your professional journey and mission through a digital platform, I'd love to help create a website that reflects your unique color through Squarespace or WordPress. This is Anisha Jennings reminding you that sometimes our greatest impact comes from simply being brave enough to be ourselves. Until next time.